It is Wednesday and it is 2:00. So you know what that means. It means it's time for So What's the Catch? And I am Unger to the max, although I just go by the Max. And I am certainly not alone. First up, we call him the Michigan Man. He does the sports journals with me. He is a big-time Cleveland Guardians fan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bryan Fraley.
What's up, man? Thanks for the glowing introduction. I appreciate it.
Everybody's getting one today. Next up, we have the founder of This Is Believeland, which is different from the website I write for, Believeland Media LLC. Two different things. He is also a big-time Cleveland Guardians fan. What is the name of the podcast again?
Guarding the Corner.
Guarding the Corner. Thank you very much. We got, in his new and improved office, James Masturchi. Wait, there we go. I know what I'm doing.
I'm here, rocking some Rocket City Trash Pandas today.
Let's go.
Okay.
All-time great mascot there.
Yes. And then last but certainly not least, we simply call him the wildcard because who knows what the heck he's going to say. Just graduated from the audio emphasis program at Ohio Media School, Churk Berzerk.
There he is. What is up, Churk?
You're
How
a
are you guys all
graduate,
doing?
Churk.
Thank you. Yeah, I just got the audio engineering emphasis. Just finished that. So if anyone needs an engineer, here.
Congrats to you on that, my friend.
Thank you.
Congrats.
I heard you guys both graduated from the sports one.
Yeah, I have no idea when the hell our ceremony is, but
I think our ceremony was this past Friday. I'm not sure.
oh, well. Apparently I'm not going, so. But yeah, thanks for the congratulations.
I could
You're
be
still
wrong.
a graduate
about that.
regardless.
Hey, Brian, I can help you out here. This is really easy. First, do you have access to a time machine?
I do not. I have
Then
no
I
idea.
can't help you. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I appreciate your help, though. That was a good idea.
Unfortunately, I don't have access to a time machine either. Damn it.
My neighbor has a beat-up DeLorean, though, so that might get me somewhere.
We're halfway there.
There we go.
We're halfway there now.
Is it like the Uncle Rico time machine?
Uncle Rico had a time machine?
Yeah.
I don't
remember he
Uncle
wanted to
Rico.
go back and play football back in his glory days.
Oh, okay. He wished he had a time machine.
No, he like had one, but it like just shocked him. That's all it just did.
Okay.
It just
I
shocked
kind
the
of
shit out
remember
of him.
this vaguely now. I haven't watched Napoleon Dynamite in 20 years.
I haven't seen it in forever either, but I do remember that.
Great movie.
It was a great movie. It's classic.
Anyway, getting down to business, we are back with So What's the Catch after a 2-week break. And I was wrong about the Western Conference Final because I had already penciled the Golden State Warriors in to sweep the series and move on to the NBA Finals. And Dallas said, no.
Not so fast.
Exactly.
That's why you don't put the cart before the horse, Josh. We try telling you this time
Do you
again.
think Luka could pull off some magic?
Well, he did last night. Luka
Yeah.
did pull off the magic last night.
Yeah, if they're going to do it against anyone, who better than the Warriors, who have already notoriously blown a 3-1 lead?
Would
So
that be his,
the best team to be the first team to go, after being up 3-0. It would be so great if they became the first.
the first team to be down 3-0 and to win it all?
Yeah, I think it's like 142-0 series that went 3-0.
Has there ever been a game 7 being down 0?
I
That's a
think
good
I think there's been game 7s when a team's been down 0-3, but they have not fared well in those game 7s.
correct.
But anyways, pretty much what happened last night is Lucas saw your premature Facebook post, Josh, and he decided to double up on the meme beers that he had from last week going into game 1, and then he decided to basically stomp the Warriors.
Yes.
He was electric last night. Yeah, the biggest stat that jumps off the table at me is the defensive rebounds, 14 for Luka Doncic. He
incredible.
only had a triple-double, 9 assists, so one assist shy of a triple-double. But, yeah, fantastic game, plus 13, plus minus when he was on the court, 30 points. I mean, what can you say about the guy, you know?
Right.
I mean, it does feel like, though, he does need some more help from his teammates.
Yeah. That's been the
pretty
biggest
sure.
That's been the biggest thing in this series is like in the Phoenix series, you saw the Mavericks knocking down 3-pointers seemingly left and right. And up until last night, the Mavericks couldn't find the stroke.
Yeah, that's for sure. They shot 46% last night, but yeah, they had been, cold behind the arc, and they're a team that if they're going to win games, they've got to be making shots beyond the arc because that's kind of their game plan going into things. So, yeah, when the shots fall for them, they can win games, but when they don't, it looks bad because Luka's the only one that can really transcend the poor shooting and kind of rise above that. And a lot of the other guys, it seems like when they're off behind the arc, it's over.
Exactly.
I mean, in this era of basketball, when it's basically whatever team makes all their threes wins, if you're the team that's going up against the Warriors and that's all they do is make threes, you're already up against it. And then if you're not able to make those shots consistently, you're done.
Right.
Yeah, you nailed it right there. I mean, this is something going into the series, that it was a red flag for the Mavericks. It's like, are they really going to be able to outshoot the best, shooting team in the history of the NBA? Like you said, James, they kind of were in a corner to start the series.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, to get the one win last night, it was impressive. But, yeah, they're going to need a lot of help, and the shots are going to have to fall if they're going to make it interesting now.
Yeah. I don't think they can take this on the road in San Francisco. I would say the series is most likely going to be over at the end of Game 5.
Well, you thought it was over before Game 4.
Yeah, right. You thought it was over before the game started last night.
Yeah, good point.
Don't count out Luka Magic.
Why is everybody something magic for you?
I'm pretty sure that might be his actual nickname is Luka Magic.
Oh, okay.
Is that his official nickname? I didn't know he was branding that.
I mean,
I think so. I could be wrong, but I feel like everybody calls him that.
I mean,
the guy's special. I mean, it's an accurate nickname. Like he really is special, especially for a guy that looks like everybody's cousin, like at a pickup like football game when they do like shirts and skins. Like he's got that kind of body type, but like he just dominates athletically. Like he's so athletic for a guy that like looks just like a normal average Joe to me.
Yeah, he looks like just like you said, Brian, he just looks like an average Joe that just is like.
Obviously, he's in good shape. I'm not saying he's not in good shape.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not in good shape.
For an NBA player,
but he looks like I don't know, just the average person that just like maybe goes out for a run.
Yeah, he's a little dumb.
So I Googled Luka's nickname, and it says his nickname is not Luka Magic. It's the Matador.
The Matador?
Yes.
Oh, are you on Basketball Reference? Because they accept any potential nickname that any slap puts up there.
I've never once heard him referred to as the Matador.
The Matador?
I typed it into Google, and the first thing that came up is the Matador. It's from MavsMoneyball.com.
I mean,
yeah, they also have Swaggy L2 Easy on there. Come on.
Oh my God.
Too easy.
Trash.
So I've been calling him for years. Swaggy L2 Easy. I put that one up there.
Those nicknames are trash.
They are trash. Those are bad.
Yeah.
Those are really
Most
bad.
Most nicknames are trash. It's when you can find a good one, it comes off and it actually sounds good. That one's special. Okay. But so many nicknames are terrible.
Yeah, the Matador would be good for Rubio, being a Spanish player, but like
not even.
Luka he's Slovenian, right? Slovenian, yeah. Like he is not from a country that has Matadors at all. So
I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He's kind of magical with the ball. So I think something like the Magician, maybe.
Okay, so I bounced over to the basketball references nickname list, which I'm convinced Churk put the last one on here because Luka Magic is on here.
What?
There are several other ones on here as well that are also terrible. In addition to the Matador, there's El Matador. Okay, Cool Hand.
God.
Cool Hand
the
Luka.
Don. Yeah, Wonder Boy, El Nino Maravilla, Swaggy L, Luka Legend, Too Easy, and Luka Magic.
What is with all the Spanish nicknames for him? He's not Spanish at all.
I think
Where is that coming
he's
from?
definitely
People just hear European and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's from Spain." Like,
I don't know what it is, but I do know that. I'm glad Luka Magic was on there. That was surprising.
I can't believe Luka Magic's on here. What a crock of shit this is.
right.
I thought the Magician would sound better.
While we're on the
Oh my
topic,
God.
who has the best basketball nickname of all time? I really like Andre Kirilenko's AK-47.
AK-47 is good.
Yeah, I really like that one. That's probably my all-time favorite.
Agent Zero, I thought was up there.
Yeah, especially when he started bringing guns to the games, it made a lot more sense.
Yes. It was
I do remember that.
Oh,
I think he's talked about it a couple times in his podcast.
I'm sure he has. Yeah, it was a pretty big deal.
And he says different things each time.
I like the answer too. I think the answer
Answer's-
is an all-time good nickname.
Yeah. I like the Diesel.
Shaq Diesel.
Yes.
You got one, James? Any you're fond of?
Got one.
I like the Worm.
Mm,
Dennis Rodman.
that's a good one. That
Yes.
is a good one.
That one's a fun one. You know, I'm glad we avoided the obvious like MJ Air Jordan nonsense.
Right.
We went into the other ones that are more fun.
Right.
Exactly.
Nobody
Yeah.
said King James either, so hats off to us for not being.
I mean,
I
I
got one.
can't.
Fred Hoiberg, the mayor. There we go, the mayor.
Oh,
I don't know why. I think some of those players that are not as well known have the better nicknames for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the best nickname of them all, the Vanilla Chinchilla.
Yes, you do.
And what about Under to the Max?
That's a good one too. Those are both up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
digress. Back to the basketball part of this.
Yes, getting back to Warriors Mavericks. That was weird at the start of the third quarter that it got delayed because of a leak.
Well, you
Yeah,
know, maybe
they had a basketball game.
maybe if Mark Cuban spent a little more time upkeeping his arena, a little less time Shark Tank, maybe this wouldn't happen.
Yeah, dude's always Shark Tanking it.
Hey, don't be dissing Shark Tank. That's a great show.
Hey, I'm just saying, you know, a little less Shark Tank time, little more arena maintenance time.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah, that's the first rain delay I can remember at a basketball game and ever. So,
Yeah.
I
Hey,
want to take a look at that.
we'll get into baseball later, but we are very familiar with rain delays here in Cleveland.
That's a fact. Yeah,
It is.
I mean, most places are. Houston isn't, but most places aren't.
right.
Phoenix?
Does anybody think this game goes 7?
No,
Or this series goes
This
7?
Mavs game,
No.
I would say up to maybe game 6 at most.
Up to
no,
6?
no, this is going to be over next game. Game 5, it's over.
Yep.
I'm
Gentlemen's
not going to
sweep.
go that far.
Yep.
I think
Game 5, it's over.
it's either going to be next game or the game after. I can't see it going 7. Though.
No.
No way.
This is just what happens all the time. Team goes up 3-0. They don't finish in game 4 because the other team's like good, but they're just not as good as the other team, and that team has that hot game, and then game 5 they get blown out by 40. Okay.
Right.
I do got a question for y'all. How do you feel about Mr. Number 1 overall pick for the Cavs, Andrew Wiggins?
He's fine.
Yeah.
It takes him being on a team with at least one Hall of Famer on it.
Should we bring him
being worth
back?
a shit.
That's a fair point too. Yeah. I mean, we won a championship with that trade, so I'm okay with it.
Should
Yeah.
we bring him back?
No.
No.
Nah.
You don't think he would provide anything?
He's too expensive.
He's too
He has-
expensive and not good enough. Like, he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
He
fine.
he hasn't lived up to the hype of being the number 1 overall pick, but, he's playing well in the system.
Yeah, he had a -20 plus minus this game, so not the best for a guy that's known for, being a weapon on the defensive side of the ball. Didn't do a whole lot of that.
How do you make the All-Star game?
Here we go with the All-Star game.
Oh, here we
I
go
am not
again.
entertaining this.
No.
But here's the deal with Wiggins. Wiggins is a guy that is going to be the third, fourth guy on a really, really good team and be a contributor. He'll have his moments where he scores 20, 30 points in a game and it's like, oh, look, he had a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Or he'll be the best guy in a team that finishes like 13th, 14th in the conference and completely sucks all the time. That's the caliber of player he is. He's fine. There's a lot of variance in where his teams end up.
Yeah,
Right.
I just don't remember there ever being a game where it was like, oh, that was the Andrew Wiggins game for the Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't happen.
Right.
Like you don't think that?
No, I mean, I can't remember one that I was like, oh, Wiggins took over this game. Like, no, he's had some good games and whatnot, but it's
didn't he dunk over Luka?
Maybe. I mean, that's 2 points.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I know what play you're talking about. The one that they originally called an offensive foul, and then they reviewed it. They
the dunk of Luka was pretty badass.
Yeah.
That was a nice dunk.
Here's what it comes down to for Mr. Wiggins, okay? What is the first thing that immediately gets brought up when you talk about Andrew Wiggins? Oh, the Cavs traded him for Kevin Love. It has nothing to do with him. It's about him being traded for someone else to win a title. Right. Until that changes, the dude he's whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just like an average player, you think?
When he's the secondary part of a trade that was made. Until that stops being the first thing that gets brought up.
Yeah. That's a good point, too. He wasn't the primary part of that trade.
Right. I don't think, and to your point, James, even if the Warriors win the title this year, I don't think that would get rid of him being the first thing you mentioned of
you're right. It wouldn't. It would still be Andrew Wiggins was traded for Kevin Love.
Correct. And then it would be.
Until then. I mean, he's fine, but it's not like they're having him do a whole bunch. I mean, his field goals per game are the lowest since he was a rookie. His makes are his lowest since he was a rookie. So it's just like he's not a key guy in their offense.
Right.
He's a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, their main guys in their offense are Steph, Clay, and Draymond.
The fact that Draymond is ahead of Andrew Wiggins in this conversation says a lot to me.
Yeah, not exactly an offensive weapon.
Do you think this is the start of the second window for the Warriors?
Yeah.
No.
No?
They'll maybe win the title this year. This isn't some second window. Look at the age of these guys.
That's a good point too.
Yeah, I actually agree with you on that one, James. They're bringing in some younger guys like Otto Porter, Jordan Poole. They've got
Andrew Wiggins.
Wiggins is a good player. They have Wiseman, so they have some nice young players, but that's not going to be enough once Steph, Clay, and Draymond move on. Not when you have these young up-and-coming teams who some of them look like they've already arrived in New Orleans, Minnesota, Memphis, Denver when they get fully healthy next year with Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. I'm sure I'm missing a couple other teams, but you get my overall point.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Warriors roster here and their respective ages. Curry's 33, Thompson's 31, Green is 31. Iguodala is 38 because he's somehow still on the roster. But you look at those guys; those are their key guys. They're all over 30, and Steph didn't look great at times this year. There were a couple times where it's just like he looks kind of bad. And you look at Thompson; he's coming off of basically missing 2 straight years of basketball, so that's going to take a toll. That's going to advance his age,
right,
through injury. So, second window, no. A title this year, maybe next year, sure. A window, no.
Yeah, I agree with all of what you just said, basically. So
yeah,
I think for sure, I think it's championship or bust for them, and I don't think it's really changed over the past few years. As long as those guys are all healthy and those 3 guys are there, like that should be the standard for them. So I didn't really see a window like ever close on them either. So it's like it's just open, you know.
Gotcha. Because I know some people were saying like when they went through their 2-year drought, like, oh, the window's closed, and now that they're having this run, people are saying, oh, the window's open for a second run type thing. But I get what you're saying, Bryan.
I think people just wrote them off too early, and they'd never really had a full healthy season together. And the COVID year was a weird year, obviously, and so like I think it was kind of anomalous that they didn't continue their dominance of the Western Conference.
What ended up happening really is those 5 straight trips to the finals for the Warriors all caught up to them, and it took them 2 years to recover. That's what it was. So it wasn't like that that's not that they weren't trying. It's not that all of a sudden they're just bad and just not a good team. And it was 5 years of finals caught up to like their entire roster at once.
Yeah, and I agree with you.
1, that's really, really sucks. But 2, that just makes you appreciate just how good LeBron was during his 8 straight runs to the finals.
Seriously, it's a lot of basketball to go all the way through the finals.
Yeah.
Especially with some of these series, going 6-7 games too. Like it's a long run. I think that it definitely caught up with them. And then the timing of the COVID and everything else, it was just like all a perfect storm for them to kind of ease off the throttle a little bit for a year or 2.
Yeah.
I think this Warriors team maybe has 3 more good seasons in them.
Okay.
That's probably about right.
Yeah, I would say you're pretty accurate with that assessment.
I would say 3 really good seasons. Their only chances to win a title being this year and maybe next. But year 3, they'll be good, but won't win a title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, if this is just an off year for Steph, then, that's one thing. But if this is more indicative of like age catching up to him, like it does to everybody eventually, then that's a different scenario. Like if that's the case, they're going to have to make some moves, and it's not going to be that core 3 players anymore if they're going to try to be the number 1 team.
Yeah.
Right. I would say the Phoenix Suns, probably their window is most likely closed because they haven't extended DeAndre Ayton yet. He
doesn't matter.
We don't know if he's going to be around. Who knows?
You don't think he matters, James?
When you're looking at the composition of the Phoenix Suns, no, he does not matter. You're looking at 1, Devin Booker, 2, Chris Paul. After that, you're talking about a 3rd player. He really doesn't matter in this equation when the other 2 are who they are.
It's interesting. Chris Paul is the reason I'm saying this, though, is like he's, 30? He just turned 37, or he didn't just turn 37, but he turned 37 this year. So who knows how much tread he has left on the tires. And then once he retires or moves on to a different team, whatever, what are the Suns going to be? So.
Yeah, I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. I think his style of play kind of fits for his age, like he plays a style that doesn't depend so much on like freak athleticism, like he can be a distributor and be smart with the ball and still do all those things as he loses some of his physical edge. So I think for that reason, like he's like anybody who's writing him off or thinks he's done, I think it's foolish. Like I think he really could have 2 or 3 really good seasons left in him.
By no means am I like suggesting that he should retire anytime soon. I'm not trying to suggest that. Like I agree with you. He still got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying when he does eventually retire.
I mean, how much longer is his contract?
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna Google that right now. Find out how much more time in dollars are attached to his contract. Because that right there would tell you a lot. And he has 3 more seasons at just under and just over $30 million to go. That would be after or through age 39 season.
He's got 30 million reasons to keep playing for another 3 more years. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And conversely, DeAndre Ayton They're sent him a qualifying offer, or they're going to, which just makes things difficult to sign a player away in free agency.
Yeah. Okay, so moving over to the Eastern Conference Finals, we have Game 5 tonight in Miami. Series is tied 2-2. Are we finally going to get a competitive game in this series, or is it going to continue to be blowout city?
I think it'll be competitive.
Blowout. It's the same theory I applied to the other series we just talked about. Whoever's making the threes is going to win the game, and whoever's not isn't going to win. One of these teams is going to have a complete clunker from the three-point line. The other one's going to make 17 to 28.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think Boston, if they do have an off night, has the best chance of winning. But I don't know. Boston took 40 more free throws than them in games 3 and 4 combined. So as long as they're getting to the line and playing physical and still scoring inside, I think they can survive a bad night of shooting. But if the Heat are off, I think that they get blown out.
Yeah.
I agree with you there.
Ultimately, I think Boston's going to win this series because in the long run, I want to see Warriors-Celtics in the NBA Finals. I just think that would be a fantastic matchup if everyone's healthy. Because think about it. If we get Golden State Boston, you've got Marcus Smart against Steph Curry, Jaylen Brown against Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins against Jason Tatum, Robert Williams against Draymond, and then center position doesn't really matter in that matchup too much, but 3 out of those 4 matchups would be entertaining for me.
You don't think the Heat versus Warriors would be interesting?
It would be, just not quite as interesting as Warriors-Celtics.
I don't think any of the matchups will be interesting. I think the Warriors will kick the shit out of whoever makes it out of the East. I really do. I don't think Boston is good enough to take down the Warriors in a 7-game series. I don't think Miami is near good enough to take down the Warriors in a 7-game series. So I would see the Warriors just completely just running the other team out of their own building to close out the series in 4.
I think we all agree that Miami was only the number 1 seed based on standings. They weren't actually the best team in the Eastern Conference. I'm pretty sure we all agreed on that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
I agree.
So,
were you going somewhere with that? Or?
I was just continuing James' point mainly.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I think the Celtics can compete with the Warriors. I think the Warriors have shown a lot of weaknesses throughout their playoff run, and I just think that they do have they are capable of having a couple really bad nights. So I think that Celtics Warriors would be an interesting series, but I think that they'd sweep the Heat. I really do. I don't think the Heat's a good enough team. They're just not there yet. With the team currently assembled the way that it is, I don't think they can beat the Warriors. I don't give them a chance at all.
No. I would say if it's Golden State, Miami, Warriors in 5.
Yeah, I'd say sweep, honestly. I think it'd be a 4-game series.
I love that we're not even entertaining the Mavericks, but
no, they're down 3-1. The Warriors are better than the Mavericks, unless Steph, Draymond, and Klay all simultaneously tear their Achilles. There is not a single chance in hell the Mavericks have to advance to the finals.
Yeah, as of right now, I 100% agree with that statement. Barring some really crazy thing, maybe a COVID outbreak on the team or something like that, who knows? But yeah, they're just not good enough. They're not good enough in this series, and nobody's ever done it before. Over 130 times that it's happened, nobody's ever done it before. This team is going to be the one to break that streak. No, you know what I mean? The team that finally breaks that streak is going to be a little bit more special than this one.
Yeah. What do you think Kevin Durant is thinking? Knowing that he left Steph and everything in Golden State to join Kyrie. And
I don't think he is thinking about that.
Huh?
Probably isn't thinking about that.
I agree with Churk. I don't think he cares. personally.
He won 2 rings with them. I mean, I don't think he has beef with them at all.
No, I'm not saying that he has a beef with it, but
you're saying he would regret leaving, like he could have had more success there.
Correct.
I don't think so. I think he wanted to leave and be the guy somewhere. Like he didn't want to be a guy that's only winning because he joined a super team. Even though he did kind of build a super team around him, people argued. Obviously it didn't end up that way. But I think he was happy with that decision at the time, and I think that he would still be okay with that decision, even though he hasn't won a ring since then.
So so if I'm hearing you correctly, Bryan, you think he kind of heard that criticism of you joined the Warriors when they were already at their highest, basically?
I don't think he cared about the criticism. I just think that personally he. Well, yeah, he did have a couple
come on.
And some other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fair
He
point.
doesn't hide behind the burner accounts anymore, so good for him. But that happened.
Yeah, hindsight. Yeah, now that you bring that up, yeah.
I didn't have to say anything. You knew exactly what I was talking about, just with a facial expression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that part of his existence out of my memory. Probably because it was just so.
It's because he's so accepting of it now. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
He embraces it. He's like, the internet, Twitter is a terrible place. I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So the All NBA teams the All NBA teams got released last night. It was first team All NBA was Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and then I forget who the guards were off the top of my head.
I'm pulling it up.
And this is what matters more than the All-Star games, right?
Yes.
100%. 100%.
This is what matters.
More than an All-Star game, 100%.
Yeah, it was Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Tatum,
And Booker.
Yeah, and Booker, right.
That was the first team. Second team, Embiid, Durant, Curry, and DeRozan. And then third team is cut off at the bottom. Okay, Karl Anthony Towns, LeBron James, Chris Paul, Trae Young, Pascal Siakam. Did
Siakam deserve it?
The third team, I'm not going to argue third team.
Yeah, I third team, I don't have a problem with it.
That's like arguing which team in the Premier League is the worst of the 3 getting relegated. Who cares? They're all getting relegated.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, if he was first team, I'd have a problem with it for sure. But I don't have a problem with him being third team.
Do you have an issue with anybody that made first team or second team?
Booker?
No, but I'm waiting for Churk to go on his pedestal and soapbox and tell us why the Cavs were screwed and didn't get an All-NBA pick.
Yeah,
why didn't they? I mean, man, I would put Garland over Siakam.
They don't play the same position.
That's not they're not the same position. Siakam is in as a forward.
Right.
All right,
Who are the 13 guards again?
Then Trae Young, man. I would put
he wasn't
Garland
getting over
Trae
Trae Young. Come on, man.
I'm putting Garland over Trae Young.
You're silly.
Garland over Trae Young. Come on.
No, Chris Paul and Trae Young were the 2 third-team guards.
Come on.
Yeah, no chance he's going to get over those.
Okay, Churk, Trae Young beat Darius Garland in the play-in tournament.
That doesn't matter.
I mean, that's true. Churk's right. That doesn't matter. All these stuff is voted for the postseason. But whatever. It's he's not going to get over those guys. It's third team. Who cares? Third team. Who cares?
Right.
People like to bitch about the everybody gets trophies, free balloons for everyone who enters society we live in here. Shout out Simpsons Sir Puddalots. But that's what the third team is. It's like, you're good. Here's an award.
Also, Garland deserved the most improved over Morant.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one because Morant has already established himself as an all-star superstar, and Garland.
When you come at it from that angle, I kind of agree.
Yeah, when you come from the actual improvement, and if you want to be one of those people that incorporate team success along with said improvement, it would easily go to Garland.
Exactly.
That's not me being a homer, because as you guys know, I am not a homer at all.
No, you're right, because John Morant was already John Morant before
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a misnomer for him. It was more of like he had such a special season, they wanted to give him some kind of award for it, and that just happened.
But not the MVP.
Yeah, it was like the Lifetime Achievement Award type thing, but
right.
Yeah,
John Morant's. I think he's a special player. Reminds me of. Well, actually, he's just John Morant. I can't really say anything else.
Yeah, I mean, second team All NBA, so
he's good.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Do you think that Memphis would have won that series against Golden State if Morant had stayed healthy for the final 3 games?
No,
but it would have been more interesting. I think it would have been far more interesting, but no, I don't.
I mean, sure, but they wouldn't have stood a chance. I mean, look what they're doing to the Mavericks.
Yeah.
Mavericks are a better team than the Grizzlies.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, dude, they are very jaw heavy on Memphis. Like they don't. Nobody else is going to carry that squad, So I don't think.
I mean, they did go 20-5 in the regular season without John Morant.
Regular season.
Yeah, it's a different basketball game in the regular season. What'd they do in the playoffs without Ja?
They destroyed Golden State in Game 5.
Okay.
They're at home right now, so.
That's true.
You get my point.
Yes, I do.
Touche. But no, out of this list, no, I don't really have any problem with any of these, to be completely honest. And I don't think anybody on the Cavs was particularly good enough to have beat out any of the players on this list. So. No, I don't have a problem with it at all, if that was the question.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, people are trying to make the case, okay, Joel Embiid, if he didn't win MVP, he should have been first-team All-NBA. Whatever. That's all.
I still agree that you got to keep Jokic, the MVP, the MVP in front of him. You can't have the MVP be on the second team.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
So,
and the Embiid thing, as far as that goes, just insert the no correlation graph GIF here, because no correlation to any of these. You gotta look at them you gotta separate the other awards from when you're doing stuff like this. You can't be like, well, I voted this guy MVP, but I'm gonna put this one at first team. You can't do that shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well. Anyway, we had the draft lottery, and the Cavs did not move up in the draft. They are staying put at 14. So
tanked.
Yep.
We should have tanked.
I mean,
no, I disagree.
I'm kidding. I was being facetious. Yeah, this is no surprise. Our odds of moving up from the 14th spot were absolutely awful. And no, I'm not in favor of purposely losing games.
Right.
Unless if you got to such a point where it's so bad, then yeah, maybe. But
if there was a transcendent guy from Akron, Ohio, that was the potential #1 pick, then maybe. But there's nobody in this draft that's that.
No.
You think that potential #1 overall pick will be coming back here?
He could.
I think he could. Yeah.
He could. Yeah.
I don't know if he'll come back here to play meaningful minutes with a contender, or if he'll come to retire here, but he'll definitely come one way or the other, in my opinion.
I mean, during the All-Star game, I think he campaigned for Allen to be in that one, so you could see how that was.
The only reason Jared Allen got into the All-Star game is because James Harden got injured.
And it was in Cleveland. So.
And let's be honest here. LeBron is someone who's very, very well aware of his reputation. He's very well aware of how he's perceived. And I would say he's got just a little bit of a big ego, but some of that's deserved. Yeah. But he knows the easiest way to get love from the NBA fan base, especially Cleveland, when the All-Star game is in Cleveland, say something good about the Cavs. That's it. That's all he's got to do.
Yeah.
All he has to do, then he's He's King James. Everybody bow down to King James.
If you say something good about Cleveland, everyone fawns over you, including myself. I can't say I don't.
Yeah.
It's just a classic move that people do all over the place when people are going to a town that they're from like that. You know, they're always going to try to play to the home crowd. You know, the All-Star Game's a show. It's about it's entertainment purpose only.
Exactly.
You don't think it's competitive?
No, absolutely not competitive at all. So when it's a show and it's for entertainment, like you're going to say some things about some guys to make the local media happy. Like that's a smart play. Like it makes sense. Like it's good business, and LeBron's a good businessman. We know that. So.
Right.
Yeah, and think about every concert you've ever been to. Okay, what does the band say? This is the most wild crowd I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought there was a wild crowd in Detroit last night, but you know what, Cleveland, you're the wildest crowd we've ever had.
Right.
You know, it's the same shit.
Yeah,
exactly.
Will you say Cleveland, this is for you?
Who?
He already said it.
Yeah, he already said it. And then
Are you asking if he'll say it again if he won again in Cleveland?
Yeah.
I mean, I doubt it.
Yeah, I would doubt it.
I think he's more original than that to say the exact same exclaim. But yeah,
Ron can be corny at times.
When I think about it, so
Ron can be really corny at times.
Yeah, he's a cornball. I agree with that.
He was in Space Jam. Come on.
Yeah, well, Space Jam 1 was a great film.
Oh yeah.
Space Jam 2, horrible movie.
I have not seen Space Jam 2, so you would not recommend it then?
No, it stunk.
You saw it?
I told you it was going to stink when they released the jerseys.
Yeah, the jerseys were god awful. And the Toon Squad had some jerseys back in the day. Those were dope.
Oh my god, the Toon Squad jerseys in the original Space Jam movie were amazing.
I was the age that I was still getting Happy Meal toys when Space Jam came out. I had the whole Toon Squad stuffed animals. They gave them all away. They all had the jerseys on.
I just got one question. Why did they put Sean Bradley in the film? They couldn't get Shaq.
You just needed someone tall and goofy. It's a kid's movie.
Come on.
Exactly. It's a
kid's
movie.
Come on.
Shaq probably didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
You sure? He could have done that and been a lot better than that than Kazam.
Hey, don't
you show some respect on Kazam.
And
Steel.
You saw Steel too?
Come on, look how old I am.
Yeah.
Of course I saw Steel. It was terrible.
But I'm saying Shaq probably would have been better than Sean Bradley in the film. I know we're getting off on this stupid thing, but
wasn't the Monstar guy that like the Sean Bradley character like turned into also big and lanky and largely useless?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
He did.
So that's what it was. He was playing a character.
Yeah.
Shaq wouldn't be good for that character. Shaq would dominate. He would be the Monstar.
He'd be the orange one. The orange one that was giant and huge.
He'd be the orange one. Yep.
100%.
I don't remember names. I remember what they look like, but I don't remember their names.
Yeah.
I think they had Larry Johnson. They had Grandmama. They had Barkley, Ewing, Muggsy Bogues.
What the hell is happening with this show right now?
We're talking about Space Jam.
Kevin Johnson, wasn't he the other one?
No, he wasn't in it.
Oh,
I think that was it.
Oh shit, Mandela effect. I remember Kevin Johnson being in Space Jam somehow.
Are you confusing him with Larry Johnson?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Grandmama.
Oh yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah.
Good.
I've got the COVID brain still.
That was his nickname.
Yeah.
Anyways,
moving on. Moving on here. The Nets are unwilling to give Kyrie a contract extension. That is not shocking at all.
Nope.
No.
I mean, who's anyone really surprised here?
Nope.
Kyrie's a unique individual.
Yeah.
He is someone who has gone down internet rabbit holes, as he has admitted, and I'm pretty sure anyone who's been on the internet has also gone down rabbit holes and been like, "How the hell did I get here?" Okay.
It's a dangerous place, the internet.
Yeah, the internet. You click and you click.
It's the modern day Wild West.
But
it is.
I get it, but like, he's been hurt too. In addition to his, I'll call it what it is. It's controversial stance in regards to his vaccine status and playing sports, okay, and especially in the state where he lives in. And it was seen controversial. Everyone made a big deal about it. But I can understand why the Nets are not willing to hand out more money to him. It's very easy. It's not like, why don't they want to give him a contract? It's why would they want to give him a contract?
If they do, I would give him just a 1-year contract at a time. Don't give him a long term.
You know what players hate? That.
Yeah, players
they don't
hate
like that either. They want security. They want the guaranteed money and security. That's the two biggest things. But yeah, I'm not surprised by this one bit. I'm still a Kyrie fan. I'm still a stan of him. I still think he's a really good player. But is it surprising that a guy who's been largely problematic for the organization doesn't want to throw millions of dollars at? No, it's not surprising to me at all. So he chose to go down the path that he's on, and I think he's kind of got to deal with the consequences.
Right. Agreed.
Whether you agree or not, that's just an unbiased opinion. It's just when you take a controversial stance like that, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, you got to deal with the consequences that come from it, and that's what we're seeing right now.
Right. Exactly.
So,
transitioning to the National Football League now. Looks like the NFL is looking to make some changes to the Pro Bowl, which is basically touch football at this point.
Yeah, it's basically a 7-on-7 game at this point.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a suggestion. Get rid of it.
You think they should get rid of it?
Yes.
It's terrible. It's been terrible. I've been campaigning to get rid of the Pro Bowl for the better part of 2 decades. It's terrible.
We've had this conversation on this show several times during the football season. The Pro
Bowl is unwatchable.
Yeah.
Unwatchable.
No, if they want to do something just make it fun, have them play Madden, have them do the challenges and the skills competitions and things like that. But to play a football game, it's not a game anymore. We're pretending like it's a game. It's not. So
exactly. Like I said, it's basically become 2-hand touch.
Do you think the players think the game's unnecessary too?
Yes.
Why do you think so many guys drop out?
Yeah. So many people like to not.
So many just don't play. You want to be entertaining, have non-kickers participate in kicking competitions to look like the average doofus. Okay. That would be entertaining.
Yeah, have offensive linemen do the quarterback drills. Do stuff.
Have the kickers and punters be the skill position players. Do shit like that. That would be a lot more interesting.
That means Taco Fall could play QB finally.
There you go.
Yeah, because apparently he's a football player now.
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure how his name came into your head in that moment, but here we are.
Bryan, at this point, Churk is going to somehow bring Taco Fall into the discussion any way he can.
I feel like I haven't heard his name in months.
Do you miss him?
He really had a fall from grace, huh?
Oh, my God.
I think that was worse than me bringing him up.
Yeah. That's all he's worth is a bad joke.
Yes.
He's going to give YouTube videos of you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if he wants to be seen as a carnival attraction. Just that's what you're suggesting. Is he just makes YouTube videos.
He makes the Kwame Brown videos.
Oh goodness, I don't know.
That's a good direction to go in.
Anyway, moving on. The NFL, the Rudy rule is expanding to include quarterback coaches now.
Yeah, the rule didn't used to include the quarterback coach position, so you did not have to interview a minority candidate for the quarterback coach position. But since of how closely tied to the offense the quarterback is and the offensive coordinator, they're trying to help promote, minorities into those positions because there really aren't a lot of them.
Yeah.
No, when you look at how many minority quarterbacks there are, you would think you would have an equal representation in the coaching field. That's how it is with all the other positions. So yeah, this one makes sense. It needs to be done probably. Whether you agree with the process or not, something needs to change because it's obviously not fair the way that the hiring process goes as it currently stands.
Correct.
So yeah. it's not the most popular rule. I know a lot of people have a lot of things to say about it or whatever, but like until you have a better suggestion, like what else are we going to do?
Exactly.
Like, so
that's pretty much where we're at. And unfortunately, the Rooney Rule, while good intentioned, has not worked out the way it was intended to.
At all, right?
It's just guys getting sham interviews, and it's just complete bullshit. And I feel like this is probably going to happen with these job positions now, but you're probably not going to hear about it because it's a quarterback coach, not the offensive coordinator or the head coach. So
yeah,
shit's going to happen. It's going to be ugly like it always is, but
that's
just another day in the National Football League.
Yeah, it's an ugly billion-dollar industry.
It certainly is. Looking at our hometown NFL team, the Browns re-signed Jadeveon Clowney. I'm sure you're happy about that, James, because you were so happy when we signed him last year.
I'm happy.
I mean, I was completely against signing him last year. He completely outperformed all of my wildest expectations. That being said, it was a high in games played in 4 seasons. Same with sacks and tackles for loss. He still is going to be dealing with like injuries and inconsistent play because that's who he is. Repeatability is the word that comes to mind when it comes to Clowney. Is what he did last year repeatable?
I think it is.
Considering his recent track record and level of play and injuries, it's hard to argue that it is repeatable.
I think it's repeatable.
What do you have? 9 sacks, right?
Yeah, 9.
Should have been a Pro Bowler.
He's not going to have 9 sacks. I don't think that's achievable for him, but
I think he'll have 13.
It's a position of necessity, though. Like we need people, so like we needed this signing a lot more than at the time he was first signed. You know what I mean? The circumstances are different. So yeah, like this is a move that made a lot of sense. Probably needed to be done. So yeah, I'm glad that he's staying, but no, he's not going to have 9 sacks this year.
Should we give him an extension?
No, there's a reason why they only signed him to a 1-year deal again, and it's the 2 things I brought up: injuries, level of play. Okay, they're protecting themselves from a bad investment, from a bad long-term contract.
Yeah, I agree with Bryan. I 100% agree with what you just said. He needs to show consistency. Until he can do that, no, I'm fine with him signing 1-year contracts.
Right. I mean, 2 of the biggest issues for him are availability and inconsistency, and that's things that when you want to talk signing a guy to a long-term deal, those are 2 words you don't want to associate with them. So
correct.
A 1-year deal to me makes perfect sense. And from what I understand, like there's probably other teams that were probably willing to pay him more than what we gave him. So it seems like a good deal.
That's what he said. I don't buy that. That's the trying to create some goodwill with the team, fan base. I almost just like abandoned. But like for what it's worth, this is the 3rd straight year that he signed a 1-year deal. That gives you a really good idea of his perception around the league.
Yeah.
Because he waits so long, and he's not waiting long because he's going to get more money. Okay. He's trying to think he's really smart and savvy, but he's like George Costanzaing this and holding out for less money. Okay. So there's a reason he's available for as long as he is for 3 consecutive years.
Right.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a lot, for a position that's that important, you got to have answers to those 2 questions. Like, is this guy going to be available and is he going to perform? And, he's never been a guy that's proven he could do it year in and year out. He had a good year by all measures last year, but to think he's going to repeat that when he's never done it before, where are you coming up with that assessment? You know what I mean? So,
and I get what people are saying. Like, yeah, he can repeat that because he's going to be playing with Myles Garrett again. Like, okay, but guess what? Teams are going to make adjustments in the offseason. They're not going to play Garrett and Clowney the same way they did last year. So it's going to be more difficult for them.
I mean, sure, it will be more difficult, but it's not going to be difficult because of themselves. It's going to be difficult because their defensive line is dog shit. But One last thing before we continue on this topic. I did write something advocating for the Browns to sign Jadeveon Clowney about a week ago. Okay. In addition to another player, which we'll get to in a second. But I did advocate for the Browns to sign Jadeveon Clowney about a week ago.
Yeah, good article. You were ahead of this one, so shout out.
Yep, definite shout out.
And I'm assuming the person you're referring to is Ndamukong Suh.
Yes, the other person will be Mr. Ndamukong Suh is the other player I advocate for them to sign because, one, he's still available.
He's old.
Two, I think in a part-time role, he could be very valuable in this defensive front. And because his style of play is just kind of that fuck shit up, create chaos type of, I guess, way of attacking, having him and Clowney doing that simultaneously would be devastating to offenses.
I like your way of thinking.
I like your way of thinking, too.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot, too. He's definitely not going to be the guy that he once was in Detroit. You know what I mean? But like, he's still a good player. And if you can use him in spurts, you know, get him on the field in short, you know, it's like a hockey shift for him, you know, just you got to minimize his time on the field, minimize his plays. But in big situations, to have him creating chaos down the middle with those two guys rushing on the edges, it's like, yeah, that's a very, very good idea to me, it seems like. So.
Yeah, I would definitely sign off on that one.
And it does the one thing that the Browns defense hasn't been able to do in a very long time, and two, have seen unwilling to do in Joe Woods' defense and under the way that they put this team together, but that's create interior pressure. Creating pressure from the interior is the way you get plays to go off their mark. You're not going to be able to be in rhythm. It makes the other team play left-handed. And that's the ultimate goal, is to make the other team play left-handed and not be doing something that they plan to do. If you can create interior pressure, you can completely throw off the timing of any offensive play.
Right. 100% agree. Yeah. If you get a situation where it's a key third down and you have all three of those guys on the field at the same time, that could be absolutely devastating for the opposing team.
Yeah, and like I was never a big fan of the conversation and idea of moving Jadeveon Clowney inside the defensive tackle. However, you could do that with him and Suh in the middle, just completely making a mess in the middle, while you have Garrett and maybe one of Chase Winovich or maybe Alex Wright or whoever they figure to be their other pass rusher on the outside. And that would be quite interesting and a very, I guess, difficult defensive attack to try and stop.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. So free agency is still happening, though it's definitely slowed down from what it was. But what other moves do you think the Browns should make? I know you said you want them to sign Ndamukong Suh. But
yes, Ndamukong Suh is one. I saw some conversations about possibly bringing in Will Fuller, formerly of the Texans and Dolphins. I mean, I think Will Fuller is a good player, and everyone's just going off of his time with Deshaun Watson before, but I'm like kind of lukewarm on him, to be honest with you.
Don't think he's that good.
What was that?
Don't think he's that good.
It's not a talent issue with him. It's an availability issue with him. The dude gets hurt a lot.
Right.
I think he would help open up the Browns' passing attack and make things a lot easier for, Amari Cooper, David Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, because he'd be, someone who at least has somewhat reliable hands and someone who can at least catch the ball downfield, because right now they don't have one who is a deep threat.
I agree with you on that one. We don't have a deep threat. Amari Cooper still has to convince me that he can be a true number one wide receiver, because right now I just don't think he is.
Well, he's not. He's not a true number one. He's not like a slot guy either. He's that number two who's not quite good enough to be a number one. And that's fine, but you have to work around that.
Right. That's what I'm most concerned about with this offense this coming season is you bring in a quarterback the caliber of Deshaun Watson, but you don't have a true number one wide receiver. You have some good wide receivers.
I mean,
in Amari Cooper. Maybe DPJ can actually develop into a solid wide receiver. We'll see. You have other decent players, but don't have that true number one caliber receiver.
And that makes me miss Hollywood Higgins.
It has nothing to do with Hollywood Higgins, but here's the deal. This is the beautiful part of having a quarterback who's considered to be franchise quarterback caliber. You don't need those number one guys. He can make whatever happen with whatever he has to throw to. Who's the best receiver Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with? Deion Branch?
Yeah, he didn't win with Randy Moss. That's right.
Didn't win with Randy Moss.
He didn't win with Randy.
Didn't win with Wes Welker either.
That was the gumball cat.
So,
I mean, Julian
Deion Branch, Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Troy Brown.
Elite quarterbacks make receivers better. Look at Rodgers last year with Lazard and what he was working with. Like a player like Watson's going to elevate these guys to levels that they wouldn't achieve with Baker Mayfield, for example.
You don't think Baker was didn't help out the receivers at all?
Baker didn't help anything out. But here's the Browns find themselves in a position that's the complete polar opposite of what they had last year. And that's they have an answer at the quarterback position, and they don't really know what they got at the receiver. This is a much better situation to be in because the quarterback is able to make plays to these other receivers, where we had the very high-priced wide receiver duo with the quarterback who can't get it done, and it was a disaster.
Right.
So,
by all accounts, it was a disaster. So yeah, this makes a lot more sense. Did you guys talk about Will Fuller when I was gone?
I did. Yeah. What are your thoughts about Will Fuller, though?
I think it'd be a nice move. I think that he on a team like Cleveland would fit well. And like Josh, you were saying, I could hear you talking about Amari Cooper not being the number one guy. Like that's obvious. Like he's not the number one receiver. So yeah, bringing in a guy like Fuller, I think he can be really a good, and he played with Watson before too. So, that little bit of camaraderie that they have will help. And I think because of that he would actually be a really good fit in Cleveland. In other places, I wouldn't be so excited about it, but I think Fuller in Cleveland makes a lot of sense.
Does health concern anything about you with Will Fuller? Because I do remember from my time covering the Texans being like Will Fuller injury updates on an every other week basis.
Yeah. That's, it's what other options do we have? So that's why I'm okay with it. But yeah, that's 100% been an issue. It's an issue with Clowney too. Like that, when you sign guys like this, like you're taking chances on guys that aren't historically available. Like it's risky, but at this point in time, Jarvis is gone.
Exactly.
So it's like we got to sign someone. So I'd rather take a chance on Fuller than not do anything at all, even though there is a chance that he might come and get hurt and it'd be a disaster. But at least we're trying at that point.
Yeah,
for what it's worth, this chance of injury, according to Draft Sharks Injury Index, formerly SportsInjuryPredictor.com, 95% chance of injury in 2022. That's a 16.2% chance of injury per game.
That's not good.
No, I agree with what you're saying, though. Like, Clowney's injury prone. We know this. Will Fuller's had a history of injuries, and didn't he get suspended for something at a certain point? I thought he did. I could be wrong.
Fuller did get suspended at one point, yes.
Watson's injured too.
Yeah. So, these guys are injury prone, but like you said, Brian, what other options do we have at this point? The landscape has pretty much dried up.
Yeah.
So
I still say we bring OBJ back.
I'd love that.
I would absolutely love that. I'm
surprised he hasn't been signed yet. Or do you think it's mostly only because of his injury that he suffered in the Super Bowl?
It's because of the injury.
Yeah,
he's evaluating two things. One, do I want to play with Jarvis again down in New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, and they draft Chris Olave. Is that who they drafted?
Yes.
Yeah, that's just a stupid offense if you think about it.
That's like cheat code offense.
It really is. That would be the most used team in Madden, especially with famous Jameis at the quarterback position, by the way.
Yeah.
Everyone just go 5 wide every play because you're not going to stop that. But he's weighing New Orleans or Los Angeles. New Orleans could be fun. He's from Louisiana. Play with Jarvis again. Or he can maybe go win another Super Bowl with the Rams.
Yeah. I think that the game he was having in that Super Bowl too, like he was on pace to be the MVP of that game.
Easily.
And I think that now that he's had a taste of that, like I didn't always associate OBJ with being a guy that was a championship chaser or anything like that. I never associated him, just didn't think of him as that guy. But now that he's been there and he's had a taste of it and he had that first half that he had on the big stage, man, that's got to be so addicting. Like that feeling is so – it's got to be unmatchable, as an athlete. So I think that's maybe changed his priorities a little bit and his decision-making, and that's why it's taken him a little longer. Like he's really, really being thoughtful about this one, and I think that's good for him. But, yeah, I think in all likelihood he's going to run it back with L.A.
I would assume the same thing.
Me too.
If I had to make a guess. It makes all the sense because he, like you said, he just won a Super Bowl. He was on pace to win Super Bowl MVP by a huge margin. And he has Matthew Stafford throwing the ball to him where he'll actually get accurate passes instead of passes where he has to go, oh, how am I supposed to catch that?
Yeah, but he was running the wrong routes. That was the problem, though.
Totally.
Give me a break.
That was horse shit. That first time I was like, this is some horse shit.
Seriously, one of the most talented wide receivers of all time doesn't know what fucking route he's running. Give me a break. That was the laziest narrative that's ever been ran by Cleveland media. And they really beat that one to death, too.
And, Bryan, you brought up how, like, you didn't picture him to be, like, a championship chaser.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because he never really got the opportunity to go after a championship given the situations he was in with the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns. Once he got to the Rams and was in a position to chase a championship and eventually capture, it's like, oh, this is what it's like to win a title. Yeah. I want to do this again.
Yeah, that was exactly my point, Josh. It was just that now that he's had a taste of it, like, I think he wants to be that now, and he was just kind of a victim of circumstance and for a long time. And now that he's in a position with a winner, it's like to jump ship on that if he has the option to stay, if they want him there, I think would be kind of silly. But at the same time, though, that offense in New Orleans would be so fun. So I could see it going that way, but I honestly think the best move for him is probably just to stay put.
I'll make an interesting comparison, actually. Here's how I'm going to compare this. The Saints and the Dolphins, because the Dolphins went out, they had Tyreek Hill, and they put as many pieces around Tua as they can because they want to know for sure, is Tua the guy? I think New Orleans is basically doing the same thing. They don't know for sure if Jameis Winston is the guy. So they're saying, okay, we already have Michael Thomas. We already have Alvin Kamara. Let's go out and draft Chris Olave. Let's bring in Jarvis. If they end up signing OBJ, and they want to know, is Jameis going to be the guy? Any thoughts?
I don't know if that's what New Orleans is doing. That's what Miami's doing for sure because they need to figure that out because they have a guy on a rookie contract with an expensive fifth-year option if the guy is not good enough, as we found out and are still currently dealing with here in Cleveland, as we are still yet to unload the contract of Baker Mayfield. But as far as New Orleans is concerned, they know what Jameis can do. It's never about, is he going to be able to learn to throw the ball down the field? Is he going to be able to learn about throwing touchdowns? His issue has always just been limiting turnovers.
Yeah.
He still was a very productive quarterback and threw for a shit ton of yards and a fuck ton of touchdowns, even with turning the ball over 30 times or whatever the hell it was. He went 30-30. Touchdowns, interceptions. That's insane. Okay.
Yeah. Brett Favre shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the most extreme version of Ryan Fitzpatrick that there can be. Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's what it is. You get the Fitzmagic, Fitztragic experience drive to drive, where with Fitzpatrick, it could be half to half or game to game.
Yeah. That's a really good comparison for sure. Yeah, I agree. I don't know that they're completely 100% in on Jameis, Josh. I can agree with a little bit of that. I think that that's what they got, and that's what they're going for this year. And I do think that they think they can win with them. But is it not in the back of their mind? Like, they just came off of having a guy like Drew Brees. Like, do they think that he can be Drew Brees and be a guy that's there for 10 years? And like, I don't think they probably believe that about Jameis. So I don't know if there might be still some interest if this year doesn't go according to plan of drafting a guy next year or what. But yeah.
I mean, for a while, the Saints were in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes before we ultimately got him.
I mean, yeah, that's because, I mean, if you didn't have an elite quarterback or legit top 5 quarterback, you're going to be in on a player like Watson.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we know what Winston is. We know what his volatility is as a quarterback. So you had to. Unless you had like a Brady or a Rodgers or, insert actual legit franchise quarterback here. Which are only like a couple more to add to that list.
Yeah.
You're calling about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you missed out on Russell Wilson or end up missing out on Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the situation with Jameis can work, but he's definitely got to be a little more careful with the ball. But part of what makes Jameis is that taking those shots and making those ridiculous throws. So, like, I don't know if you can necessarily take that part of his game away. So that's my one big fear for him, is that like the turnovers will be too much. But I don't know. I think that they think that he's their guy right now and they believe in him.
You have any thoughts on this, Churk?
I mean, not really.
Okay. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. All right, getting back to the Browns, because we got majorly sidetracked there, but whatever. To the surprise of absolutely nobody, Baker was a no-show at volunteer OTAs, and neither was David Njoku.
Wow.
Well, I mean, Baker Mayfield not showing up, not a surprise at all. I mean, come on. People were playing we're going to try and figure out where Baker Mayfield is game the other night on Twitter. And that was wild because everybody was wrong. And that made it hilarious.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's not going to show up. He knows he's not part of their plan. He knows he's not part of what they're going to do. He's just waiting to get traded. That's all he's doing. He's not going to show up.
What if they don't trade him?
Then he'll get cut and someone will sign him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're not going to carry him on their roster at any point. Okay.
They'd rather pay another team to take him than keep him on the roster. So absolutely no surprise that he's not there.
Yeah. At this point, I'm thinking they might go the route of keeping him until training camp. Inevitably, somebody's quarterback is going to get injured, and then they'll come to the Browns for Baker Mayfield. I think that's what they're hoping for.
I mean, because those teams are going to be talking to one of two teams about one of two quarterbacks. It's going to be about the Browns and Mayfield, or the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Exactly.
I mean, because those are the guys that will get traded during that time. That's just what's going to happen, though. Because, I mean, you keep seeing no interest in this team. Then the next day, team's still interested despite reports. Like, what the hell are we doing? Okay,
Right.
We have to keep playing this yo-yo game with the Panthers. Like, do you want them or no? Robbie Anderson obviously doesn't want them, but maybe the team does.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. The fact that the Seahawks are willing to go into the season with Drew Lock and Geno Smith instead of Baker Mayfield should tell you all you need to know.
Well, they're moving on from Russell Wilson, who is an athletic version of Baker Mayfield who can actually complete passes. Why would you want Baker Mayfield when you're getting off of that? Their offense wasn't working with Russell Wilson. Why would it work with a worse Russell Wilson?
That's a good point.
That's a very good point.
Sorry, I was drawing a picture of Clown Baker.
Let's see it. Are you finished?
I'm not a good artist, so I'm not displaying it.
All right.
He's wearing a dunce cap, though.
Dunce cap, okay.
He's a
I like
clown
this.
in a dunce cap. So
I like
that tells you about
Now,
it.
back the 2020 season still a fluke?
Yes.
Yes, always was, always has been, always will be.
I mean, yeah. So what?
So we have, in his entire career that we've seen up to this point, we have 3 seasons worth of games of bad data. We have 1 season's worth of games of good data.
There's 2 seasons of him.
2 halves of seasons, which equals 1 season.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, people can make the argument like, yeah, but he had Hugh Jackson, Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchens, and then Kevin Stefanski, and he had different offensive coordinators in that time. So what? Like, I get it. Each head coach and each offensive coordinator is going to have him play differently, but still, like, we know what he plays like at this point.
Here's the deal. Good quarterbacks will go through the adversity and come out the other side and still be good quarterbacks.
Exactly.
Look at all the bullshit Matthew Stafford went in with in Detroit. All the complete nonsense clown show shit that goes on with the Lions because that's who they are. Okay. They still are. They always will be. Okay. That's just what they are. And you look at all the coaching turnover. You look at all the offensive coordinators from Joe Lombardi to Jim Bob Cooter, and you're just like, what the hell is going on here?
Bob Cooter.
That's my favorite player. Absolute legend, Jim Bob Cooter.
Do you think he's better than Scott Player, though?
That's a real person.
Or Chad Mustard.
Those guys, James?
I'm just saying, you look at the offensive coordinators he had in Detroit, they weren't very good, okay? You look at the offense that saw one of the all-time greats retire rather than continue to play for that franchise, and he was still good. Look at all the shit they gave to Baker Mayfield and him continue to be bad.
Yeah, seriously, they loaded the cabinet around him, and he had Nick Chubb playing out of his goddamn mind, and one of the best offensive lines. And like, what did he do with it? Like, he didn't do dick with it. So
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I just pray that he's gone sooner rather than later because I'm just tired of talking about him. And like, they keep entertaining this stupid ass idea that he's going to play while Deshaun Watson is injured, and it's just not going to happen.
No,
Annoying.
And that turns into how many games can the Browns win with Jacoby Brissett? And it's just like what I learned from that conversation is that nobody knows a damn thing about Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
he isn't bad.
I mean, if Deshaun Watson is suspended, Jacoby Brissett's going to be our starting quarterback.
You don't think Baker would be?
No.
Absolutely not.
I have a better chance of starting for the Browns this year than Baker Mayfield does, okay? And I have a 0 chance of starting for the Browns this year.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Hey,
And what about and are you grateful of Baker's time here?
No, what? For what? What do you do?
This was the conclusion to one of the worst eras of Browns Twitter of all time. And it's not even over yet. And it's not even going to be over yet after he's gone. But I mean, this is I don't know. Like, Browns Twitter's been a complete nightmare for the majority of the time I've had Twitter. Okay.
They keep talking about Baker all the time?
Well, it started off with hey, if you give him some lifts, he might get a little taller. Maybe get some spikes that are just a little bit longer than the standard ones, and he'll be just a little bit taller, maybe see over an offensive lineman.
yes.
But, no, from the 0-16, the tear down, the Sashi Brown, the Hugh Jackson, it's been terrible.
I mean, he's still the best quarterback since 1999.
His name's not Derek Anderson.
I don't.
You think you're putting Derek Anderson over him?
Yes.
Yeah, he made a Pro Bowl. Sorry.
He did.
I mean, I would argue for maybe even Tim Couch or Kelly Holcomb over Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, Couch had nothing around him. The guy was getting murdered every game.
And he has an NFL record. How many NFL records Baker have? 0.
Yeah.
He does. Baker has some records for rookie quarterback.
Those have been broken.
Yeah, those have been broken.
Tim Couch's NFL record still stands, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
How about Jeff Garcia?
Who gives a shit about Jeff Garcia?
He was good.
Okay, cool. Big deal.
I'd rather have Jeff Garcia than Baker Mayfield. I'll say that.
Jeff Garcia sucked.
Would you take Charlie Fry over?
Yes.
Baker?
Oh yeah. Akron
Yes.
Finished. That's the real King Akron, Charlie Fry.
Wait, Churk, do you remember the 2007 season? Derek Anderson was our quarterback. We would have made the playoffs that season if Tennessee had lost to Indianapolis.
Yeah,
Jacksonville lost too.
We were 10-6. We were, we didn't make the playoffs that year. That sucked.
Do you think we would have gone far in that playoffs, like Super Bowl?
No, because that was the year with the 18-0 Patriots.
Yeah,
we have gotten past the second round. You think?
I don't know who they would have played in the first round, so probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. But either way,
I think that was Braylon Edwards' career year too.
Yeah,
it was. Same with Kellen Winslow, and it was a nice late career resurgence for Jamal Lewis that year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Geez, 2007 was a good year in Cleveland because we had then the Indians, because that's what they were known by. They got to the ALCS against the Red Sox.
Yeah, the 3-1 lead.
Yeah, true. Cavs got to the NBA Finals.
They would have swept the goddamn Rockies.
Oh my
God.
Oh yeah.
Please ask me if I'm bitter.
Oh, I can tell you were bitter.
You were one game away from being World Series champs.
Easily. We were They were tied with the Red Sox for the best record in all of Major League Baseball that season at 96-66.
Yeah. I was in New State the night that we lost as a teenager in high school and blacked out drunk because of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then the Cavs get to the finals and get swept by the Spurs. But
yeah,
hey,
why was that a good year? You're like, oh, that was a great year for Cleveland sports. That was just a year full of pain.
It's an average year of the Cleveland sports fan. It's called disappointment over and over again.
Yeah.
It was the factor of sadness.
I would rather not make the postseason than have my heart broken the way that it was that year. Or the way
true.
07 was a rough year for Cleveland. Like, we had it all on every single team.
I was trying to look
Series,
at the
possibly, but we lost
LeBron, and that's it.
Huh?
What did the Cavs have other than LeBron, though? Like, he didn't have it all.
They had Zdrunas Ilgauskas.
Yeah.
And they had Damon Jones.
Zdrunas Ilgauskas after multiple major injuries and surgeries, and he had no mobility.
We had Drew Gooden.
I really do, but, like,
he's not
the dude was a statue.
Right.
He was a statue with cement shoes, okay? So he's even slower than a statue moving.
We had Drew Gooden. We had Larry Hughes.
Those guys
good. Dude,
and we had
I like this comment. That's a Cleveland sports fans' expectations. Heartbreak.
Hey, we're getting comments now.
Keep the expectations low, and your serenity level will be high.
Exactly.
That's just life secret. So if you go into every season thinking that we're going to come in dead last, then you'll be pleasantly surprised. So
you got that right, Bryan.
There's a fine balance there. There's a fine balance between having some good outcomes by the season's end and just being Frank the Tank. Nobody wants to be Frank the Tank.
Nobody wants to be that bitter.
No. Okay. The reason I said 07 was, a good year for Cleveland was because we had successful seasons, but you're right. They ended in heartbreak.
Yeah, really painful.
Yeah, so can I rescind that statement, or is it stuck out there?
This is the internet. It's here forever.
It ain't going nowhere. You can rescind it, but
I don't think it's that big to be talking.
Anyway, the Steelers hired a new general manager. I know, great transition, Bryan. Expert.
You're a pro.
We're a Cleveland show talking about them Steelers. Why?
Division rival, my friend. You got to talk about the division rival.
Yeah, of course we got to talk about them.
We're a Cleveland-based show.
Talk about the most other than the Browns, honestly.
Churk, we're a Cleveland-based show, but we talk about all sports and all teams.
That is true. We do that.
That's the catch.
Hey, there you go. I like it.
Took us over a year to figure out what the catch was, but Bryan finally figured it out on 3:25 p.m. on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022.
We found it. We now know how you met our mother or something like that.
Anyway, getting back to this, yes, the Steelers hired a new general manager.
Yeah, Omar Khan is their new general manager, taking over for Kevin Colbert in Pittsburgh. Kevin Colbert did a hell of a job during his time with the Steelers. Let's be honest here.
Tough.
I mean, when you haven't had a losing season since 2003, yeah, you're doing well.
I mean, shit. They've had like 3 coaches since like what? The Cold War. So
yeah. Seriously, that's about right.
Like, let me pull up the last time they had a coach that wasn't Tomlin, Cowher, or Knox.
Yeah. Colbert. While Colbert was in Pittsburgh, he won 2 Super Bowls, 3 AFC championships, and 10 division titles. So, like, yeah, how do you follow that act? You know,
exactly.
They made the playoffs 14 times in Colbert's 22 years in Pittsburgh. They had just the 1 losing season and then 18 consecutive non-losing seasons after.
I mean,
yeah, big shoes to fill.
Yeah, the Steelers were broken in these past 2 seasons, but like even going into this season, they may not have Big Ben, but you can't just write them off. They're still the Steelers. You know.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. The fact that they have a new quarterback now, that does change a lot. But yeah, the expectation is still for them to make the postseason. You know, that's what they do. They win games and they make the postseason. So.
Exactly.
So from 1969 to present, the Steelers have had 3 head coaches. The last coach, not named Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, or Mike Tomlin, was Bill Austin from 1966 to 1968.
Wow. Yeah, they're the model of consistency in the NFL. Like, they really are. They've built something there that it was a blueprint that was very repeatable in the time that they've had Tomlin and Big Ben together. But to know how repeatable it's going to be with question marks at quarterback, you know, it's a different situation that Omar Khan's stepping into than they've been in before. So yeah, it's high stress situation for that guy for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, good hire and all. By all means, it seems to be a good hire. I don't have any problems with this at all.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with it
either.
Khan's been with the Steelers for 20 years.
Right, and like, what's a team that's been that consistent going to do? They're going to promote from within. You know,
exactly.
That's how organizations like that run. So yeah, no surprise that it ended up being a guy that's been there all along. Like, they don't want to have a guy come in that hasn't been there for this incredible streak of winning seasons. Like, to have someone stepping into that role that knows what got him there for that long is really a big edge for him.
Exactly.
So.
Like, he knows what it means to be a Steeler, and he knows how high the standard is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a stat Churk will like. In his 20 seasons, he's been a part of a front office that has drafted and signed / extended over 30 Pro Bowl players.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a lot of Pro Bowlers.
A lot of Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of lays in Hawaii.
And that means those are good players, too.
Is that what it means?
Is that what it means?
Kind of.
You still think all pros are the better thing?
They are. All pros get you into the Hall of Fame. Pro Bowls get you a trip to Hawaii.
Right. Hines Ward needs to get into the Hall of Fame.
Hines Ward does.
No.
You don't like Hines Ward?
He can enjoy his time in the Steelers Ring of Honor or whatever the hell they call it. He is not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, let's pull up Hines Ward's career numbers.
And that guy, I remember him. He wasn't he the guy who just like attacked a bunch of defenders. Like he was a dirty player from what I remember.
He was a very aggressive blocker.
Yeah, very aggressive. The crack block, which is a dead thing now, he was the master of.
Yeah.
Okay, because I am curious. Hines Ward is 27th all-time in receiving yards.
Wow. Hall of Fame?
No.
That's pretty good.
Let's see. He has
5-time what?
12,083.
He does have the Super Bowl MVP. He was the MVP of that Super Bowl.
Right.
Is that the one where Jerome Bettis
Super
retired?
Bowl MVP. But yeah, he had 1,000 receptions for 12,000 yards, 12.1 yards per reception, and 85 touchdowns. So those are really solid numbers, but I don't know.
I'm not by no means am I advocating for like first ballot Hall of Famer. I just think he should get into the Hall of Fame at some point.
So here's the problem with someone like Hines Ward with his career numbers, and where he stands now, where they're not moving anymore, and players passing over him, is that in order to get in with the numbers he has to be one of those guys where at one point he is considered one of, if not the best of that position at a current time. He was never that.
Right.
So you look at where he is, you look at all the guys continuing to play, surpassing him. Those guys are just jumping in line in front of him when it comes to Hall of Fame time.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Pro Football Reference has a Hall of Fame monitor, they call it. So it's a way that they rank somebody in their chances of getting into the Hall of Fame. They have Hines Ward at a 74.17, 34th among wide receivers. The average Hall of Fame wide receiver is a 103.63. So almost 30 points entirely under that. So, yeah, not good chances for.
Oh, geez. I didn't realize it was that big of a gap.
Yeah. So, James, he seems to be right on the money with
it
depends how heavy they weigh a Super Bowl MVP. You know,
right.
Some people argue being a Super Bowl MVP is an automatic.
Well, I don't see Dexter Jackson in the Hall of Fame, so I don't think Hines Ward's going to get in the Hall of Fame.
You think? I don't know.
Anyway, moving
Tommy
on.
Maddox going in?
Tommy Maddox, Hall of Famer. Oh, yeah, first ballot. Absolutely.
You remember him, James?
I remember.
He's Mount
Tommy
Rushmore
Maddox.
quarterbacks.
Anyway, moving on to Major League Baseball. Tim Anderson and Josh Donaldson. I don't really have a great introduction to this.
There isn't one.
Ugly situation.
Let's be blunt here. There isn't a good introduction to this. Accusation of racist comments were thrown out. Mainly starting off with Tim Anderson, but also Tony La Russa, who said it in an interview after the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For anyone who doesn't know the background of what happened here, Josh Donaldson referred to Tim Anderson as Jackie, as in referencing Jackie Robinson. But it was not done in what Tim Anderson received to be a good manner. Josh Donaldson claims it's some inside joke between him and Anderson. Problem is, they're not friends.
They're not friends, right?
So that's kind of a problem there. And apparently, Donaldson's been doing this for some time now, and it dates back to Tim Anderson saying he feels like Jackie Robinson in 2019 for bringing fun back into the game. Say whatever you want about that comment, but you don't say Jackie in the manner that's been received, because Yasmani Grandal was ready to fight Josh Donaldson the next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was an inappropriate comment, and then to come out and say that it was an inside joke when you know for a fact that you're not friends with the guy is just a really confusing tactic. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he was trying to pull there, but just all around bad situation. Donaldson, obviously the aggressor in this situation, and he was suspended for a game, and I think he deserved that for sure.
Well, he's going to be suspended for a game. He's appealing He's currently on the COVID IL. So
I didn't realize he was appealing and he was on the COVID IL.
Yeah. That all happened recently. They split up their time in the doubleheader on Sunday. One played in one game, one played in the other. It seemed to be kind of maybe if there was an agreement made between the two clubs, like, hey, we'll play our guy one game, you play your guy the next game.
Yeah,
type of situation, so we don't have an incident.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It does make sense, and it's such a weird topic because wasn't Donaldson saying, like, were Donaldson and Tim Anderson teammates at any point before this season?
No, never.
Never once.
Okay, so
they've never been in the. I don't think they've ever been in the same organization
ever.
Unless Tim Anderson played for a different club than the White Sox at some point, which I don't think he has.
Okay, so that makes this whole situation that much more confusing, but also interesting at the same time. I'll say that.
I would say it's confusing. I would say just that Josh Donaldson's a liar and an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he's lying. You know, if Tim Anderson comes out and says he's not my friend, I don't have inside jokes with him, then obviously Josh Donaldson is lying. So, yeah, I don't think that it's confusing that he chose that path, but I think the situation is pretty clear. Like, he's just being an asshole.
Tim Anderson said they weren't friends. He also said, I don't want to be friends with them. So, further creating that separation.
Right.
So based on that, do you guys think the suspension should have been longer than one game? Or do you think one game is reasonable?
This is a weird situation to get into, and there's been a similar situation involving Anderson and some of the language he has used. Okay. And some arguing certain aspects of freedom of speech or whatever, but that doesn't matter or apply here. The fact of the matter is that it's kind of a weird thing. If there's any precedent to go off of, then go off that precedent. But it's a weird situation to try and evaluate suspension wise.
Yeah. I also think if you suspend for long, then you're setting a precedent there too, and you have to really be sure of what you're doing if you're going to set some kind of new precedent for that. And because it was just the name Jackie, and it wasn't an actual slur, I mean, it's still a shitty thing that he did. I'm not,
it is
in fashion.
Agreed.
But it's at what point do you say, okay, well then what else can guys get suspended for saying then? You know what I mean? So it's just like a slippery slope. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. I think that it's fine. He got suspended, he got punished. And I think that that's the important part here is that they're okay. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm fine with the 1 game suspension. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on if he should have been suspended for longer. Obviously, right. I'm not saying the remainder of the season or something. That would be insane. But I would have meant more 3 games, 5 games, that type of thing. Something like a reasonable suspension. Not that 1 game isn't.
I think 1's fine for what they're doing here. I know I'm kind of backtracking on what I just said, but if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, when someone gets thrown out from a game, it's usually a 1 game suspension. You know what I mean? If someone does something, it's usually a 1 game suspension, unless it's instigating a riot, Yasiel Puig style. Okay, or intentionally throwing at somebody's head. It's usually a game. So if they're going to suspend him for a game, it's fine. But it's kind of just once you get into that realm of suspensions, you can't go back.
Yeah, that's what I agree with you there.
Makes sense. Okay, so we are about 40. We are just about at the 40 game mark in the Major League Baseball season. So, and that's the traditional benchmark to start evaluating teams. So, which teams do you think have played better than you expected, and which teams have just underperformed? I'll start right off the bat. I was dead wrong about the Detroit Tigers. Yeah, I was 100% dead ass wrong about them. I thought they were going to come out and play really well, and just no, they haven't.
I'm trying to find my notes here of the teams that I picked so I can compare them to the current standing.
Ay.
I have so many pictures I need to delete. Good Lord.
Well,
surprising teams off the top of my head, though. I'd say the Mets being as good as the Mets are is surprising to me. Even though I did pick them to make the postseason, I did not anticipate them having a plus 51 run differential at this stage of the season. Like, they're playing really well. The last 10 games, 6-4, so they've kind of cooled off a little bit. But I have to admit, I have been surprised with what the Mets have done in the NL.
First of all, get on the Mets train, number one. Number two, they're doing this without Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and currently Tyler McGill. So, I mean, granted, their second group of pitchers are still pretty damn good and better than a lot of rotations currently in baseball when you consider Carlos Carrasco, Chris Bassett, Taijuan Walker. Even David Peterson's useful as a fourth, fifth swing guy. You know what I mean? But compared to like the rotation in Detroit, and you take the Mets rotation, the backup rotation over the one in Detroit any day of the week.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, the injuries and stuff, that's what had me kind of pumping the brakes on them. I know I picked the Braves to win the division, and they're 8 games back already. So yeah, that's one that I'll have to say I was wrong about too, Josh.
But the Red Sox have been disappointing. Minnesota's been better than I think anyone thought. I don't know how long this runs, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Minnesota seems like they got an end date on their success.
Yeah, I don't know how sustainable this run is by them. That's my biggest concern with them.
Because
I agree with you.
You look at the Twins. It just I don't feel last year was the anomaly year for them. I think last year was an indicator of where their team was headed as a whole. But looking at their team, I'm not like, oh my God, they got this guy. Like, sure, Byron Buxton's good, but it's like, when are you going to get hurt again?
Exactly. That's the other thing is availability has always been an issue for those, like their key guys on that team. And that's, obviously something to be concerned with moving forward for them.
Yeah. I would say the Angels, I would play into the surprise category. I thought they would be like middle of the road, third place team, but they're only a game back of the Astros for first place in the AL West.
How about the Guardians?
Guardians they're chugging along. Real quick on the Twins before we get too far away from them. I don't expect Chris Archer to continue to have a 3.86 ERA, 1.38 WHIP to continue. I also don't expect Sonny Gray's 2.60 ERA and 1.12 WHIP to continue. They're both pitch to contact guys. Those are much lower than what they should be pitching and producing at numbers wise. Also, they're out with Chris Paddock for the rest of the year because they got all of 5 starts out of him. And his season's over.
Yeah.
But
who are some of your biggest disappointments?
Red Sox, they suck.
Yeah, Red Sox stink.
Yeah,
They're
I had
bad.
high expectations for Boston, and yeah, they suck.
They're not doing good right now. I mean, sure, they're 8-2 over their last 10, and they've won 6 in a row, but they're still 2 games below 500, okay? They're still almost 10 games back of the Yankees.
That gap between them has really, really opened up.
The Red Sox, obvious disappointment. I think we can all say the Phillies are pretty much exactly what we thought the Phillies would be.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Other disappointing teams, the Cubs. I didn't think the Cubs would be as bad as they are. Did someone say that already? I'm sorry.
No, not yet. But the Cubs are where they're at, and I think extended droughts from Frank Schwindel and Patrick Wisdom did not help them. because those two guys were terrible. They optioned Frank Schwindel. Okay, that happened. But they're in full Schwisdom mode right now, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Optioning Frank Schwindel should tell you all you need to know about the Cubs.
I mean, the Cubs aren't necessarily they're not good right now. I mean, you look at some of the guys in the lineup; they're guys, either late stage guys or guys that are really young that need to figure out a lot of stuff about. And if you go in certain parts of MLB Twitter, if you stumble into Cubs Twitter, you can just see the hate manifest for Nick Madrigal and Nico Horner on a daily basis.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
They're fine players. They don't fit the current model of the guy that hits home runs, and people get pissed off about that. Like, I think Nick Madrigal will have a place in this league. I think Nico Horner is a fine shortstop or defensive guy who'll probably hit around 270 with light power, if any.
Yeah. Right? He's not going to hit home runs.
No.
But they need pitching help big time. Their pitching stinks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Seiya he's awesome, though. I think that they've got to be excited about what they've seen from him. He's obviously cooled off, but
he'll bounce back.
Right, I think so too.
Yeah, I expect him to bounce back. Anybody else that's really Anybody else that's really disappointed you or like surprised you in a positive way, or did we pretty much cover everybody?
In a positive way, the Angels.
Yeah, Josh, you said the Angels earlier. I agree with that one too.
Yeah, Angels. Padres still somehow being 28-15. How about the Giants still having life?
Yeah. I know I picked the Giants to make the postseason wild card. So I had a little bit higher hopes than most for them. But the Padres, I agree. I did not expect them to be for 28-15.
Without Tatis.
Without Tatis, right. Their best player is still out. So
and Clevenger got hurt again. And
surprising absolutely nobody.
Yeah, they've won 7 out of their last 10. They're still rolling.
Yeah.
Padres are more than solid. Your Giants pick, they edged out the Mets last night 13-12 in the most ridiculous game that has been seen in a long time.
13-12, that's wild.
Multiple comebacks by both teams.
Yeah, in that ballpark too.
Ugh, that ballpark. Jock Peterson had 3 home runs.
3 home runs for Jock, and it's not even Jocktober yet.
No, it's not Jocktober.
No. Yeah, Oakland, I expected them to be in the basement, so they're right where I predicted them to be. Baltimore, predicted them to be in last place. I knew Cincinnati was going to be bad. I didn't expect them to be this bad, though.
They traded everyone away. Jonathan India has been hurt for the most of the season.
Yeah, I'll say I was wrong about the AL East. I thought that the Blue Jays were going to be more competitive with the Yankees, but they very clearly are nowhere near the Yankees stratosphere right now. In my opinion, 23-20, and they aren't exactly blowing teams away. So,
you're right. Kudos to me for my early Yankees pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did pick the Yankees.
Yankees are good. They have a problem at closer right now, but the Yankees are good.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, the reason I say that too, they've only scored 158 runs. For comparison, the Guardians have 180. We should not have that many more runs than the Blue Jays with 4 games in hand too. Mm-hmm. So that's crazy, So there's still time for them to come around and put it together, but I was a lot higher on the Blue Jays than I know you guys were, so I wanted to make sure I pointed that one out.
Yeah, and I think we all kind of expected the Guardians to be pretty much right where they are.
We all said about 3rd place. That's right where they're at. So.
Yeah, they're a young team. They're figuring stuff out. They're going through ups and downs. Zach Plesac stinks right now. It is
yeah,
what it
young.
is.
We're super young. That's the other thing to remember. We're the youngest team in the major leagues, and they mentioned on the game the other night the average age of AAA teams is higher than the average age of this Guardians team. So
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, so the league average for AAA, like say it was 25. The Guardians is 24. Like for you know what I mean? Like that's wild. So
yeah, I mean the fact that they're competitive in more games than they're not competitive in, the fact that they've been able to get as many wins as they have a positive run differential.
Yeah,
with a lineup that I think the average person would have said who when you said their name at the beginning of the season. I mean,
we're 5 runs behind the Twins then the Twins have 3 games in hand. So like we're scoring more than anybody in the division, and nobody expected that. The White Sox only have 151 runs to our 180, and they have a negative 35 run differential, and somehow they're 500. Negative 35 run differential for the White Sox. So that's wild.
Can we stop getting rainouts, though? It feels like every homestand, at least one game gets rained out. It is ridiculous.
Not used to the bad weather in Cleveland yet. Just now learning about it.
There's a reason the T-shirt exists, where it's a different weather. It's sunny, then rain, then wind, then tornado, then snow, then it's all everything on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good point.
The reason that shirt exists.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the world is changing, so expect more and more chaos in the early season for the Guardians moving forward. I mean, weather's going to be an issue. It's always an issue in the spring for Cleveland. This year, it's worse than normal, I will say. But yeah, it's to be expected. You know, it comes with the territory.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah. So we got about 10 minutes left in this week's episode. It is a big weekend because we got the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday, and then that night we have. What was that?
That was a big. Who gives a shit?
Was that whoop-de-doo or that they go in circles?
Whoop-de-doo. It was a whoop-de-doo because they go in circles.
Not always.
To the left.
That's generally NASCAR. IndyCar, they don't generally drive on oval
the Indy
track.
500, they do. The Indy 500,
yes.
Well, is that not
yes,
the
I
event?
know.
Okay, so.
Yes, that is the Indy 500.
So they drive in circles. Got
it, yeah. Just making sure.
But we also have the
It's a big event. I get it.
Yes. Yes, it is a big time event. I will most certainly be watching. But we also have AEW pay-per-view that night, Double or Nothing. I'm sure all of you are going to be watching that.
I might.
I will be sitting on my...
Yeah, is it free?
Is it free? No. Definitely not.
And what night is this supposed to be on?
Saturday
Sunday night?
Sunday.
In fact, Berzerk is actually training to become a pro wrestler.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I love that, dude. You've already got the greatest name for wrestling, the Berzerk.
I mean, the thing is, I got to take it one step at a time. The stuff really hurts. I want to let you know that.
Yeah.
Well, dude, your entrance song should be the Berserker song from Clerks. That should be your entrance song.
I thought either that or the anime.
Like a truck Berserker.
Either that or the theme or the anime theme that's from Berserk.
Yeah, or just freestyle every time on your way to the ring.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what Max Caster does, Bryan.
How about I be your MC? You all do your ring walks with you, and I'll freestyle.
Would you be my manager?
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
You'll be the one to like when that wrestler's running to the ropes, just grab their foot.
When you're ready, you let me know. I know you're training now. When you are ready, you let me know, and I'm going to get you in somewhere. I'll be the best damn manager in the entire land.
The manager just like walks with you to the ring.
Sure, I don't care. Churk's going to WrestleMania. I'm making it happen.
I don't know if I want to work with WWE though. So,
you wouldn't want to go to WrestleMania though?
Nah, man, I just don't like Vince.
Isn't that the peak of the mountain for like if you're growing up and you want to be a wrestler, like you want to wrestle
Yes,
at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania is considered to be like the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Right. That's my understanding of it.
So Churk, you said you don't like Vince, but counterpoint, do you like money?
Yeah, because they're rolling in it, dude. WWE they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Talk about an operation to make some money.
I mean, you can make money in AEW though too.
Yeah. Hey, AEW's got this is a big time card. I'm not gonna read over the card now because there's just way too many matches to go over, but like I'll give you some of them.
TNT, Dynamite, Nitro, something.
Wednesday nights are called it's Dynamite. Those are on TBS. Tonight's actually the go home episode before the pay-per-view on Sunday. And then Friday is Rampage on TNT.
When is the Bash at the Beach?
Yeah, they do have Bash. No, they actually do have Bash at the Beach in AEW.
It's actually called Beach Break, and that was here in Cleveland, and it already happened.
Yeah.
How about Halloween Havoc? When's that?
That is not AEW. That is NXT.
WCW. Is that the last time you watched wrestling, James?
Last time I watched was Hell in a Cell. I think that's honestly the last pay-per-view I watched was Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell is the next premium live event for WWE, actually.
I meant
how
like
about Starrcade? When's Starrcade?
Oh, with Mankind?
Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to. I think that's
where he like fell out and like Jim Ross was like, by God Almighty, he killed him.
He chokeslammed through the top of the cage, bro.
And then he said he's broken in half.
I would love to see you in a wrestling event though, Churk. That would make me super excited. Let me know what I
gotta take it one step at a time. It does take a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, overall
it's gonna be I'm in.
Anyway, it's gonna be a fantastic pay-per-view this weekend. I cannot wait for it. Every match is going to be absolutely insane. I think my eyes are going to be full. What?
So all of these matches, the winners are still predetermined, right? It's not real.
Oh yeah. Yes, I know it's not real.
I was asking. I didn't know.
We all knew.
I know WWE is not real. I didn't know if maybe AEW had real.
No, they're all predetermined, but it is realer than you think, Brian.
I know. I'm
like with the training. If you mess up in the ring,
Josh talk wrestling without at least giving him hard.
I want to let you know if you mess up in the ring, you're getting hit for real.
No.
Yeah.
I know you can't.
Who was that Asian wrestler that was like he was unhappy with his opponent and he like started beating his ass for real because he wasn't sticking to the script. It was some like Japanese fighter in like the late 80s. I'll send you the video, you'll like it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was like the 80s, some Japanese wrestler.
Antonio Inoki?
He was fighting like one of the big dudes, like not Andre the Giant, but one of the guys that were like him.
No, there was a situation with Andre where he got his knees kicked in.
Maybe it was him then. All I know is the guy was
drunk in the ring.
The guy just kicked his ass for real.
And he was drunk in the ring and just didn't want to go with what's going on, and they all got pissed.
Yeah.
Anyways.
This is what happens when you bring wrestling to the show, Josh.
Yeah, I know.
Expect chaos.
Exactly.
Shout out to AIW, the school that's training me.
Shout. Nice.
Yeah, shout out.
No free ads.
Yeah. Tell them if they want to advertise a really good 2-hour sports show. You know one.
Yes.
Guys, I have breaking news.
What is it?
Pittsburgh Pirates won a baseball game.
Oh,
really?
Yay!
The Pirates have won a game.
Wow.
That's awesome. Good for them. They've almost reached the 20-win mark.
Were they going to go for what was it? How many games do they have in baseball?
162. It's statistically impossible.
Yeah. You can't go 0-162, unfortunately, or they would come close probably.
There's a saying in baseball, Churk, and I think this is a good way to end today's episode. You're guaranteed to win 25% of your games. You're guaranteed to lose 25% of your games. It's what you do with the other 50% that matters.
That's a great way to end the show.
There you go.
Yep. I am picking Graham Rahal to win Indy 500 on Sunday. See you next time.